Fog lights cut through rain, dust, and snow when your headlights just bounce back at you. This is how to wire fog lights with a relay, and the finished diagram is on screen right now. A fused feed from the battery, a relay, a switch on your dash as the trigger, and thick wires running out to the lamps. By the end, you will wire this yourself, bright fog lights, and a switch that never overheats. So let us take it apart piece by piece. So why put a relay in at all? You could just run a wire from the battery through a switch and out to the fog lights. It works for a while, but every fog lamp pulls real current. Push all of that through a small dash switch and thin wire, and two things go wrong. First, voltage drops across the thin wire, so the lamps run dim. Second, the switch carries the whole load and slowly cooks itself. A relay fixes both. The switch now carries almost nothing. It just triggers a coil. Thick, fused wire runs battery power straight to the lamps, on the short path the current actually wants. Quick note before the wiring. This exact fog light wiring diagram is free to open in your browser at Circuit Diagram Maker app. No install, no sign up. Full disclosure, the editor is ours. Open the first link in the description and build along as we go. Right to the harness. Here is the harness, terminal by terminal. A standard automotive relay has 4 pins, and each one gets a job. 30 is the power in. Run a thick, fused wire from the battery straight to 30. 87 is the output. This goes out to your fog lights, the heavy current the lamps actually draw. 86 and 85 are the coil. This is the trigger side. 86 connects to your switch, the small signal wire. 85 goes to a solid ground. Now watch. Flip the switch on. 12 volts hits 86. The coil energizes, and it throws 30 across to 87. Full battery voltage lands on the fog lights. Let us wire it in order. In Rule 1, disconnect the battery before you touch anything. 1. A thick, fused wire from the battery positive to 30. Size the fuse for that wire in your lamps. 2. The coil. Run your switch wire to 86. That is the trigger. Run 85 to a good ground. 3. From 87, a thick wire out to the fog lights. Then ground the other side of each lamp to clean bare metal. That is the whole harness. Fuse battery on 30. Switch and ground on the coil. Fog lights on 87. In the editor, every wire routes itself, pin to pin. Move apart, and the wires follow. Now for the switch, and you have 2 ways to wire it. The simplest is a plain on-off switch. Feed one side from a fused 12 volts, run the other side to 86, and the fogs come on whenever you flip it. But here is the better way, and often the legal one. Feed the switch from an ignition or parking light wire instead. Now the fog lights only work when the car is running or when your parking lights are on. Many places require exactly that. Either way, the switch only triggers the coil. It never carries the lamp load. Most kits have 2 fog lights, so how do you feed both? Simple. Wire them in parallel off 87. Run the output to the first lamp, then branch the same feed across to the second. Both see full voltage. Ground each lamp separately to clean metal. This exact layout also works for a pair of AUX lights or driving lights. 1 relay, 2 lamps, 1 switch. A few details decide whether this lasts. First, the fuse. Fuse the feed to 30 close to the battery. Match it to your wire gauge and the total draw of both lamps, enough to run them, low enough to protect the wire. Second, grounds. Bolt the coil ground and the lamp grounds to clean, bare metal, not paint, not rust. Third, the law. Disconnect the battery before you start. And check your local rules. Many places limit when and where fog lights may be used. Here is the part paper can never do. Prove it. This editor has a real simulation engine built in. Load the finished fog light circuit, run a DC operating point, and live voltages appear right on the diagram. There is the battery feeding 30, and there is near full voltage landing on the lamps, the whole reason you added the relay. Feed the coil from the wrong wire or skimp on a ground, and the numbers tell you now. On screen, before you ever cut into the loom. Before you build, 4 mistakes to dodge. 1. Wire and fuse too small. Thin feed wire just recreates the voltage drop you were trying to fix. Go thick. 2. A lazy ground. A bad ground stars the lamps just like a bad feed, dim light, and hours of chasing it. 3. Feeding the coil from a constant live. Trigger from a switch source, or the fogs never turn off. 4. Skipping the fuse on 30. A shorted feed with no fuse is a fire. Never skip it. So that is how to wire fog lights. 30 takes the fuse battery feed. 87 runs out to the lamps. 86 and 85 are the coil, triggered by your switch and a solid ground. Both fogs in parallel off 87. Do that, and the lamps see almost a full battery, bright and safe. The editor is free at circuitdiagrammaker.app. The diagram and a gallery to copy are in the description. Subscribe for the next build. Thanks for watching.